Morning, everyone. Today, to switch things up a little bit, and also because I think everybody's tired of watching me clean, because that's 90% of what I do most of the time, is we're going to talk about rats. So, I'm going to go over a few common problems that people run into, especially because I'm actually recovering from this myself, from making this mistake. So, let's get into it. So, to get this started, I'm not going to go over how I built my racks or anything like that because honestly, I threw them together and they need to be rebuilt. And that may even become a video in the future because eventually I'm going to move these guys out to their own building. But currently, I'm recovering from a singular problem with my rats, and that is I had gone too long without replacing my females. And it actually almost completely I had almost completely stopped producing babies to the point that I couldn't even feed my own. Or, well, I could, but only after, so much time had passed and I had bred a single female. So this is very, very important, and people don't realize it to the point that I now have all those right there are girls, and they're just waiting in the wings. They are waiting just in case a female doesn't produce, because these girls, I have 3 litters right here that are doing wonderfully. They look great. Pinkies all around. Some of the pinkies are a little bit bigger. They're getting ready to grow some hair. They look great. The male got pulled from this tub, and these 2 females back here, they look pregnant. But this girl right here, she doesn't. She looks like she's been pregnant in the past, and she may be. We'll still have to check her. But compared to that, that girl doesn't look pregnant. So we'll give her a little bit of time, and if she doesn't produce, she's going to get replaced. It's just one of those things that has to happen, which means also when females get old, they start producing less babies. I keep going to this tub, but you can look. There's probably 36 babies in there, if not more. On average, rats should produce a dozen babies. So if they get down to less than 8 babies, so less than 24 babies in that tub, we need to start doing some investigative work as far as who's producing and who's not. So the way I do my tubs is that there are 3 females per tub with 1 male per rack. Every 2 weeks, the male goes down a tub. This week, the male just left that tub, so within 2 weeks, I should have 3 litters of babies in that tub. The male is currently here, and he'll be in there for 2 weeks. In which case, he'll move down to within 2 weeks later, I should have 3 litters in this tub. On down until we get down to week 12, in which case we come back to the top. It's a 10-week rotating schedule. It gives plenty of time for babies to grow up. It gives plenty of time for babies to be weaned and grow up, and moms to even get about a 3 to 4 week break of just being in the tub by themselves. I could probably push that a little bit faster, week and a half or so, swapping males, and in the future, if I need to up my production, that's what I can do. And you can probably even hear the baby squeaking because there are babies in here too. I've also got babies down here. They're a little bit bigger. You can see some that were born earlier, they're even fuzzies. But down here on this tub, I've got 4 little fuzzies. And I think she only had 5 to the litter. So these two females, they're most likely going to get replaced. I actually had a third female in there and she passed, which tells me that those three females are old and they need to be replaced. Not because I don't want to keep them, but just because the name of the game for this is replacing, or is producing babies. Because I'm looking at 3 clutches of bull snakes, which means I'm looking at 30 some odd babies, maybe 40, which is 40 pinky rats a week. And if I'm only producing 60 every 2 weeks, that's not enough. I've got to start banking pinkies, and I've still got to produce more. And that doesn't include corn snakes. That doesn't include hognose. That doesn't include. These are all things, and you keep hearing me talk about prep and prep work. So I'm thinking that I'm going to start talking more about the business side of things, at least some, because you can only watch so much cleaning before it gets boring. And very importantly, you have to prepare. You've always got to be looking forward. You can't stop to smell the roses if you want to hobby breed. You've always got to be looking at what's next. What's the next big thing? How are we going to get to the next big thing? How are we going to move beyond what we have here? My goal is to actually move these out of here. I have a building in another location. I'm looking at having that building moved to our home, and there's already electricity easy to be ran. We're going to run electricity. I'm going to insulate it, and I'm going to then turn around and move these racks out there. I'm most likely going to build a third rack, and my goal is to start producing enough rats to actually start helping out some of my local mom and pop stores, because we have 2 within reach with me, and I have and basically start producing more. And eventually I actually want to buy like a freedom breeder rack to start producing my rats in. I want to get into the heritage breeding method of rat production, which we'll get into, and basically moving females to their own tubs instead of colony breeding as I'm doing now. And it allows for someone like me who enjoys numbers to actually watch females and how well they produce. But we'll get to that in the future. All right, guys, remember, watch your female production, or watch your females and the amount of babies they produce, because it can absolutely destroy you if you wait too long. One last thing, and this is being recorded a few minutes after that last video, is that how did I recover from this? Because obviously I have babies now, and you can hear them. Hopefully you can hear them. The simple answer is I quit selling them. If I had a litter of babies, all the males could be sold, but once they were sold, sorry, I'm out. And people would look at the tubs and be all like, but what about those? You have those? And it's like, sorry, I'm out. Those aren't for sale. You just have to say no. And the reason why is because, well, yeah, my competition that is basically non-existent because I'm doing this out of my home, and the pet stores are going to charge an exorbitant fee in comparison. And I did kind of hurt my own name a little bit with this, because I'm not able to provide because I messed up. You I would have been in even worse shape if I had continued selling. Like, there's a point when you have to just say no, and you can't be afraid to say no, simply because without it, and this has taken me months to recover. This has not been a very quick process. I could have gone to the pet store and paid a ridiculous amount of money for females when and if they had them. But instead, I stopped selling. Those females down there at the bottom, those are the learning and consequences of my choices. And my males, which I honestly I don't have anything but larges right now, and I only have 3 or 4 of those. They're in this grow out tub. And that's all I've got to sell right now is those 3 males. I'm waiting on these babies to grow up, and I should be in full swing again. Thankfully, but it's taken a time and it's been a process, and it's a mistake I learned. It's a mistake I've paid for, and I don't plan on making it again. All right, let's try this again. Have a good one, everyone.